Now that we covered the basic persistence abstraction, let's proceed to integrate it into the app. We fetch dishes as we need them implicitly from storage. This is pretty simple code that just adds all the dish elements to the dishes list property. As I mentioned before, the dish list form needs to detect the deletion of a dish so it can remove it from the UI. We do this by binding the delete listener and removing the element. One of the really cool things about properties is the ability to bind property change listeners to properties, so we can decouple code that uses the same data model to display a view in two different places. I wrote this code before the UI binding API code existed in codename 1, but it's pretty trivial either way. I just update the text when the property changes. It's better to beg for forgiveness than to ask for permission is a proverb sometimes attributed to programming pioneer Grace Hopper. Regardless of the source of that great quote, it's a wonderful example of good mobile app design. In a mobile app, you shouldn't bother users with "are you sure" prompts. You should just do what the user does and provide a way to undo, which is exactly what we do when we delete a dish in this code. I'll skip a bit ahead because the code above is asynchronous. When delete is pressed, we show the previous dish list form, since the edit form is no longer applicable. Then we delete the dish in the server and in the storage. You will notice that there is no prompt. Now we need to show a UI that allows the user to undo the delete operation. But here is the problem. We just navigated to the dish list from the form we were in, since the edit form is no longer applicable. So we use a listener on the parent form so we will know when it is shown again. The problem is that if we do that without the next line, we'll get prompts every time we enter that form after the deletion. So the obvious question is, why don't we just call remove show listener this? Well, funny story. This is a lambda expression, and here this is always the parent class. So remove show listener this won't have the desired effect. So the solution is a bit of a hack, but it was either this or use inner classes, so I chose this hack. This is relatively simple. We are now in the right form after the deletion, and I can now show the undo toast message that will appear in the bottom of the form. If a user taps this pop-up, it will undo the deletion instantly. The undo code doesn't really undo, as there is no meaningful way to undo in code. We just re-add the dish. By comparison, saving the dish is much easier and practically trivial. All of the logic to save a dish to the server and update it to storage is just a couple of lines of code. In the case of the tagline and title, we currently only save them locally, but we will add the server update code as well. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this informative.